himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nurov in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And the Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Hello everybody and welcome back to Casual Racers League. Here tonight we are live once again here at JP Broadcasting to bring you on for the Casual Racers League. Round 8 here at the Qatar Grand Prix. One final one before we end the season. And this is the look at the Drivers' Championship. And one more before at the Constructors' Championship. So we'll have a look at this probably somewhere in the middle of the session. Just a sneak peek to how the title looks. And the top two in the championship are going to be racing tonight. So this is going to be somewhat of a great championship fight as we have cars out on track doing the laps already. We're going to have a look at those here at this moment in time. It's Panda putting the lap quickest and fastest already. We're going to have a look at the driver's title later on, but let's have a look at this. The fight that we are going to see between Panda and Cahor, the top two in the championship, is already on with the Ford 5 drivers having done a lap time in the session with there's 7 tonight, and it's going to be Mr. Corda across that line. He only goes P6, and slowest of them all so far as Magic Blood goes P5 with 125.5 times, as we should be seeing everybody coming in the pits now. Should be Panda and Cahor with 121.541 for Panda, and Cahor with 122.6, but him obviously having that medium compound tire which we've usually seen him come out on in those first runs all season long. So this is going to be another one, and we are going to have a look at Pelly here and are in P3 at the moment in that wee carb car. He's got his battery on none as well, so everybody would be on their out laps except for Magic Blood if he is going for an improvement. He's not improving, so sure he's going to be going on an in lap as well. So everybody's going to be having their cool down laps. So let's have one more look at the driver's title. We're going to see Cahor and Panda fight for it. D-Mag in the session as well. Zero is not in the session, the driver in P3 and teammate of Cahor, but Zero is not in the session. D-Mag in P4 at this moment in time with 83 points to himself, and his only chance of winning the championship is he wins the championship, he wins the race with the fastest lap, and Cahor not scoring any points. And as for Panda, same goes for Panda as well. And then it's going to be Magic Blood in 5th place. John, who's not racing tonight, in 6th as well. Then it's Mr. Koda, who is to be Pel 11 here on this chart of the championship. 33 points to his name. Then it's SN Class with 27. Pablo 26. El Dominici 25. He's got a good chance to gain points as well. The rest of the other drivers, we've got a lot less time, so we're not going to carry those. They're not racing as well. So let's have a look at the constructors title at this point in time, with Red Bull leading ahead of everyone, with both of their drivers working fantastically with 194 points. But Alpine with 124 points have got a chance with both of their drivers in the session. Could well be on the way to win it, but let's see. They're still far away to be getting themselves a Constructors Championship victory. But Mercedes drivers, Panda's in, but so is Magic Blood in that McLaren. So 86 points on Mercedes, and McLaren got 74 points. But we'll see how it's all going to be shaping out. But Aston Martin got 70 points, but I don't think nobody of their drivers is in the session. Sure, our V-Carb have got their drivers, 59 points to themselves, 42 for Williams, 26 to Haas, Ferrari 10, and Sauber with 4 points each. That's going to get out the title. Meanwhile, Mr. Koda, who was the last of them all, has got the fastest lap of them all in this session, has put it out, the quickest lap of them all, and went fastest in the session so far. He's done it before anybody else could, and I think everybody had their go. But Mr. Koda, who probably seemed to be not attending every single race, but struggling season 2 for him, but he seems to be showing all the glimpses of his pace and speed here in the final race of the season, which is going to see him go quickest of them all so far with over 10 minutes remaining in the session. Anybody can catch up, and it'll be no surprise if this man here on screen, Panda, is able to catch up and see himself improve enough to get himself back into P3. He was fastest of them all before Mr. Koda could do it. Cahor is improving without a doubt, but he's still on those. No, he's not on those medium tires. He needs to be improving by a lot. Over 3/10, if he needs to be getting into P1 and getting that pole position. But let's have a look at Panda then across that line of that first sector. He's just 33 thousandth of a second to He's just 33 hundredths of a second quicker than his previous time. He might not be. He's got hot lap, of course, on that battery to use it all. If the fight is going to be on between Mr. Koda, who's going to be on the charge to show us all his speed, and then of course Panda as well, who's on the way. There's a yellow flag. Not sure if it was from him making a mistake or something else around. But will Mr. Akahor be able to do good enough? Yes, he will be, but he's far off still. He's almost improving by 8/10, but he was on a medium compound tire previously, so he needs to still improve by over 4/10 to get closer to the fastest team. He's got about 9 points over Panda in the championship, but he needs to be not 9, it should be more. This is going to be about 12 or 11 points in the championship to Panda's 96 and 107 over Kahor, but the fight is going to be on. Panda comes into the pits, and that explains his lap not being too good of a one. With Pelly in P4 as well. He's going in for that weak ARP team. And sure, the Alpine team are going to try and keep themselves in the Constructors, second place in the Constructors, and gain as much points as they can. And we will see. So there's every single team has one driver except for Alpine tonight, who've got 2 drivers of them. One of them is already at the top. Can another do it as well? Across that finish line, it's going to be D-Mag, and he's going to be as good as P4. Going to improve by over 3.5/10, but that's going to see him go P4. Still a few tenths of his teammates' time. What about Magic Blood, who's just going to begin his flying lap as well? Magic has done a very good job this season. We've seen him do race consistently. Maybe as the speed hasn't been there for him, but still the consistency has been, and that is what got him over 66 points in the Drivers' Championship. We see he's in 5th and his team 4th in the Constructors' title, with Panda, with both Alpine's Panda and the Red Bull of Accor being there. It seems unlikely for McLaren to get 3rd, but they can at least get 4th. With no Aston Martin driver being in the session, McLaren will have a big chance of doing a very decent job and getting themselves ahead in the championship. We'll see what D-Mag's able to do. He's just saving his tires. Meanwhile, Pelly in there in that weak ARP. He might have been held back. D-Mag, not D-Mag, but Mr. Koda was in P1, was on an outlap, but might have held Pelly for too long. We'll see what he's going to be able to do. P, but in that weak ARP, the number 21. What is he going to be able to show us? Currently his time of 1:23.004. Is he able to go any quicker across that finish line? Yes, he is. Almost over 9.5/10. That's going to see him go P4 and ahead of D-Mag and move himself into the top 4 one more time, and he nearly chops off into the front end of the Alpine of Mr. Koda, and I think he almost placed out the same thing. What is he did to him, getting out of the way very late, but just does it in enough time. And then Magic Blood probably on an improvement earlier on, can't quite get it. He still sees himself P6. And just ahead of El Dominici, who's got 25 points in the championship, is going to try and score a little bit more. With only 7 drivers, every driver has an equal opportunity. As long as they finish the race, they are going somewhere. And if not, one way or the other. What about Panda then? He's on a flying lap already. How much is he going to be improving by? On the previous lap, he made a mistake, head straight into the pits, but this one is going to be very exciting for him as he's improving massively, but so is Mr. Koda. Panda's improving by over 3/10. Koda's improving by 2.3/10. But we'll see who of the 2 drivers will be able to do a better job. Mr. Koda has got very less fuel, but all that's enough for him to get across that line and do improve on his previous time. And yes, he does improve over 2.5/10 and goes fastest with a time of 1:21.127, and it's then now going to be the one driver after him is going to be actually D-Mac, sorry, Magic Blood coming to the pits, but Panda, who's got to be the challenger for a Koda then across that line. This could well be one of his best opportunities to get closer to pole position, and yes, he will. That is going to be Mr. Panda. take pole position and improve by so much of a time that now that's going to see Mr. Coda get pushed back into second place, and he will have to improve by a lot. But to be honest, seeing the times on those first runs versus the second runs, comparing the two, the track improved and track ramping up has been a lot, and we'll see what the third and final runs will look like with only 4 minutes remaining, and the top two are miles ahead against the rest of the drivers. So it'll be interesting to see not only Panda and Coda, who's going to be taking pole, but a Kahor to be in there as well. We'll see how he's able to do. He currently leads the championship, but in more of a factor of consistency, with his teammate Zero having a good chance at the championship, who doesn't seem to be present here tonight for the race in Qatar. But the fight will still be on. Coda heads into the pits. A Kahor goes on one more time. He tries to improve, but for how long? Not able to improve enough to get himself any closer to the top of the timings. He's going to try everything to see himself at the top of it, but will it be enough for him to be crowned champion? I think he's going to try everything he can. I think then the other Alpine driver, Mr. Coda, on the way to have a good race. Specifically at the end, season end race as well, because he wants it and needs it, most importantly, because he hasn't had the very good races in the final few rounds of the season, so he needs a great season ending. But I'm sure Kahor is not going to give it up easily. He's had to fight for all of this all season long, and to lose out in the final one will hurt, and I'm sure he knows it. He will be doing his all and giving it his all to get himself the Drivers' Championship and get Red Bull the Constructors' Championship, which sees them many points ahead of the rest of the drivers. Red Bull with 194 points, Alpine with 124. So it will be interesting to see both teams doing it. Meanwhile, Kahor comes into the pits as all the other drivers are on a flying lap. And look at that pattern with both the Alpine drivers coming out ahead. One coming out ahead of one another, and Panda has retired from the session. Then maybe he believes there's not much that he can do, or there's not much that everybody else can do to get himself to the top or get themselves closer to Panda, because he then has retired and given a free chance and a pressure-free improvement for Mr. Coda. Sure, he will have somewhat of pressure, but he knows that whatever time he gets, and even if it's as much improvement, just by 1,000th of a second he's ahead of Panda, he's going to get that pole position. So he's not got the pressure of Panda attacking, but obviously the pressure is only going to lift off if he can do the lap good enough, of course. If he cannot, that is not going to mean anything. I'm sure P2 is not a bad position as well. So anything as good as P2, he would be loving it. But then, of course, Pelisiu in that 4th place in the RB has been an underdog as well. The number 21 is doing his best as well to get ourselves the best performance, with, of course, Magic Blood in the McLaren is going to try and get his team the 4th place in the Constructors' title and get himself very good points in the Drivers' title as well, to have a very good season to the end and finish in a very good position. With all of these drivers around, Mr. Coda, the very first one to start a flying lap, just behind Magic Blood, who's on the way to improve, but only 2,000th of a second improvement. He needs nearly not 5, but over 1 second or 2 second and a half. 1.5 to 6 seconds to even get closer to D-Mag. He's far away, so is El Dominici, the 2 slowest drivers in the session so far. But the rest of them are on their way to improve, on their way to do a better job than they've done on the previous laps. We will see, though, with Mr. Coda, Kahor having taken the checkered flag, staying in the pits, not coming out for that final run. He's not going to be doing much. So wouldn't be El Dominici, who stayed out in the pits. So this is going to be the one and only opportunity for Mr. Coda to do it all, to give it his all. to show us what he's going to be able to do. And Pelly in the weak carb has invalidated his lap, so that's not going to be bettering anything for him. But across that line, Mr. Coda is going to come. Will he be good enough for pole position? No, he will not be. What about his teammate D-Mag then? He's going to improve by over 4/10, but that is then going to be only as good as P5. He does not improve as well. D-Mag does improve by time, but not by position at all. And this is then what the grid looks like for all of you here at the end of the qualifying session. And I think this is what we're gonna have to reflect on if anything in the race goes one way or the other. And what a performance by all of these drivers, especially Panda. Just about 600ths of a second slower, faster than Coda. So this is going to be very close, ladies and gentlemen. And I think the fight is going to be on, as we should be beginning for the race in a few moments' time. Of course, it's going to be 20 laps of the Qatar Grand Prix, and we will see how all of this will be panning out in the final race of the season. Round 8 of 8 here at Casual Racers League. On your screens, just like season 1, it's this season 2 as well. Hope to bring you all season 3 as well, but before that, we have to end this season 2. That is going to see us do some great racing. It's the drivers that are going to prepare themselves, prepare the cars out on track, and get their cars ready up before we move on to a 20-lap race here at Qatar. And we will be going racing already here at the Qatar Grand Prix. It's going to be 5 red lights and we go racing in the Casual Racers League. Akor already gets out of Kota, then so does D-Mag out of Pelly. We'll see what he's going to be able to do into turn 1. Both of them go wheel to wheel. They are. They're still going to be side by side. It's going to be Akor getting ahead, but will it be Pelly or will it be D-Mag? They almost made contact. They might have done make contact, and Mr. Kota, as much of a good qualifying he had. His race is disastrous to start as he gets into last place after getting pushed off the circuit, and that's going to see him tumble down into last and 7th place on the circuit. And that's going to be him falling back into 7th place in a big round to make, with 3 drivers on the soft tires and 4 on the medium. And what a start for the championship protagonist and fighter, Mr. Panda. As it stands, he's into the lead of the race, and if things end as they are, it will be Panda crowned champion, but we will see how they're all able to do. So it's important, whoever wins this race from these two will be winning the championship, but will be others letting them win, because D-Mag, the biggest challenger for the leaders, he did not have a good start, then lost out going into the gravel. Meanwhile, now it's going to be Coda trying to overtake Old Dominici. He's going to be able to do it, but will he actually be able to do it? Because they're going to go into turn 1, wheel to wheel. In fact, El Dominici is going to go ahead of Coda. Coda's going to be on the inside line and through on El Dominici this time around. Well, Dominici's going to come back at him, but not quite enough to do it. And Mr. Coda moves up into 6th place and ahead. And I think, sure, still about 18 laps remaining after this one for him to do a good enough job and see himself move into the top positions. I think he will see what he's going to be able to do. Meanwhile, the top 2 ahead of each other, 1.1 seconds ahead of Panda. Panda is ahead of Kahor, and I think the fight is going to be going on all race long. They fought all season, and now it all comes down to this: whoever finishes in that first place from these two at this moment in time. As it stands, the things from the standings as they look alike. it is going to be if Panda's able to win it, even without the fastest lap, he's going to be able to do it. Meanwhile, Coda makes another overtake and sees himself get ahead of Magic Blood at this point in time. He's now got the next driver over 3.5 seconds ahead of him out on the circuit. D-Mag, his own teammate, but will he be letting him get past D-Mag? Because sure, Coda did a very good qualifying session, but he's going to say that's not my fault, you had a problem at the start, and probably not let him go without a big reason. As we're about to say, as it stands with 107 points to Cahor's name, adding 18 to him as it stands with the second place to his name is going to be 125, but then adding 25 to 96 is going to be 121. So as it stands, Panda's going to win by 3 points, and with that fastest lap included, he's going to win by over 4 points in the name. So this is a very, very close fight, and this will stay till the end of the race. And I think not always things go your way. Not always they go the way you want them to go. So I think this is going to be very interesting till the end of the race. We're already 3 laps in, and I think with as exhausting of a race as Qatar is, and especially the focus you need around here, one wrong move and just 1 second the focus is lost, you could well be ending in a very bad position. And already El Dominici has a penalty, and he doesn't have a front wing as well. That might have been with fighting with Coda or something else at the start, because we do not see his front wing, right front end plate at the moment in time. That is pit missing, and surely he will need a front wing change when he next time comes in for a planned pit stop. But as it stands, everybody's pulling away from each other, not quite able to stay close at this point in time. Panda's already seeing that dream, but will that be turning into reality? Because he's got still about 17 laps to do in this race to see himself crowned champion here at Casual Races in Season 2. It's going to be the final chance for every driver to do it. The gap now comes down to 1.9 seconds, but of course, both of them are going to be on the same strategy. This is then going to come out interestingly, because on that soft tire strategy, it'll be interesting. I think it was for Panda to get a good start, gain out on Coda. Panda was already ahead for a Coda to gain out on Kota, but he wasn't able to get closer to Panda for this time, and that sees him 2.8 seconds down on Cahor, 2.8 seconds down on Panda. And as it stands, Mr. Kota is able to now get closer to his teammate, but will he be close enough as he goes very, very wide this time around? But actually he's going to be gaining time that might have given him some warning. He ran very, very wide before the final corner, and that's going to now see him just be about 5 tenths down to his teammate. D-Mac's going to go down the inside line, but Coda moves to the inside and gets back to the racing line and overtake his teammate, but D-Mac's going to come back at him, both in the same medium compound tires. This is going to be a big opportunity for Coda to pull away, but for D-Mac to stay closer and have a one more time chance to his teammate. There's not many overtaking opportunities here at Qatar, except for that one main straight run in that DRS zone. So it is going to be, but it's going to be a big lockup for Coda then. That's going to allow his teammates to get closer, unless Coda's got some more great pace in free air. We're going to be able to see what D-Mac's able to show us, because at this point, as it stands, 1.7 seconds behind is Pelisiu as well on Cahor in that second place. And I think the closest battle out on track is between the two teammates here at Alpine. They will try and get as much points as they can at this point in time, but they will be trying their best to do what they can. As it stands, they'll be getting 22 points to their team. So as it stands with just over 120 points, and I shall say in total 124 points to Alpine team. There won't be much bigger points to get closer to Red Bull in the Constructors title, but D-Mac might just get closer to his teammate. Almost has to go off track to overtake, but he does it this time around. But Coda might come back at him. They're still going to be will to will. Will it be Coda or will it be D-Mac coming out ahead around the outside? Both of them trying to provide as much space as they can and race respectful, and they have done it. And in Panda's own words, almost like the two Alpine drivers, They were in 2022, Alcon versus Alonso back at Qatar and Saudi Arabia. I remember those two teammates fighting back in 2022, and I think it's all over again at the Insta team from Enstone, and they will have to manage it. How good they're able to do. Meanwhile, we are looking at that. Now Pelly has gotten closer to Akahor, who on the way back coming into the race would have thought to win the championship, but he's now finding it hard to even stay closer to the race leader, and now will have to fight and defend from the weak carb driver. The number 22 is already closer to Akahor. He's getting closer and closer already. Before the DRS is even activated, they're side by side, and it's gonna be Pelly, the weak carb, getting ahead. Junior team driver gets ahead of the senior team driver. And that's gonna be these two getting a position changed, and I think the fight between the two teammates still goes on as well, and it's still going on, and this time around Coda gets ahead of his teammate D-Mag, and yes, it was in 2022, 23 they were not teammates, but let's have a look at that. It's almost like a carbon copy of those two drivers. They're giving us a fight, but these two will be giving us a great fight as well. Kahor and Feliciu. We'll see what both of these drivers are able to do. It's going to be a weak carb driver versus a Red Bull driver. Two are going to be at it. So will be these two teammates. And that was a little bit of a snap of oversteer on Kota's car. That is only going to allow D-Mac to get closer. He's already very, very closer for these two to have a fight and have a interesting thing to have a look at this. And now we're going to see these two, and with Panda now pulling away over 2.8 seconds to Pele, and Kahor losing out 1.4 seconds to Pele. Then he's not having the pace at all. He's not having the speed that he would have expected himself. Meanwhile, Panda is into the pits. So will be Kahor. Both of them are now going to be into the pits. The championship rivals. This is a good opportunity, but we'll see. Soft, mediums on, and he's out of the pit lane. Not the pit lane, but the pit stop. Pit box as soon as he can, and same for Kahor. Both of them now switching up to the medium tire, and El Dominici then maybe have pitted earlier on, way before, as that is going to see the weak carb driver to get into the race lead and get himself up the order, as Kahor's now going to come into the out of the pits. That is a big loss for positions for Kahor. Okay, not many positions, only one position, but we will see how long it takes to recover from them. Meanwhile, the two teammates fighting each other is going to see D-Mac getting a yellow flag and falling over 3.56 seconds ahead of his teammate. Behind his teammate, there might have been some more contact between the two. No front wings missing from both of the cars. D-Mac might have lost it on his own, but we'll see how long will these medium tire runners going on, because all the other drivers are on their mediums, as Pelisiu gets a penalty, does Peli, the 3-second time penalty. That is not going to be helpful, which will only help Kahor in the later parts of the race, as Kahor now gets past Magic Blood on those new medium tires. So the new mediums proving out to be better than the 7-lap old mediums, of course. We're on lap 9, and it'll be about 11 laps to do for these drivers to the end of the race after this one. And it's going to be all about to be looking at this one as D-Mac now comes into the pits. Is he going to pit out soft or hard? He's going to send out hard tires on. Maybe he did not have soft tires at the end of the qualifying session, which only saw the two Alpines along with Magic Blood and Peli start on those medium compound tires to not have a set of soft at the start of the race, remaining a new set of soft. They might have used a lot in the qualifying session, and Panda and Ekor doing a smart thing, not going out on the final run, getting those soft tires on, but we will see, will Ekor be able to do good enough to get himself closer to Panda, because he was way many seconds down earlier on, and he's over 6 seconds down on Panda this time around, unless and until he's able to do somewhat interesting things. And I think obviously with Kota and Peli in the weak arb having to pit out in a few laps time, they will be losing out on the positions, with Panda sure over 13 seconds down on Kota, but that's not going to help him a lot as Kota now continues on. His teammate pitting out for the hard compound tire quite early, but that's not going to be the case for Kota. Then he wants to feel out the race lead, which could have been his at the start, but made a mistake, and to recover from it might take him a lot of time, and we will see how good he's able to do. Meanwhile, Panda tells us how good he's able to do as he gets the fastest lap of 1:23.1. Even more faster he is on those medium compound tires than the soft tires that we saw, but this time around it might get closer between Pele and Cahor, but it will not be close enough. Accor is just going to be able to get closer as Magic Blood now into the pits, and D-Max going to gain out a free position. 12 seconds to gap between Panda and Kota. Maybe at this point in time, but Kota trying to gain a little bit of more time, which is going to allow him to maybe gain out a position on Cahor at this point in time, whose gap is over 19 seconds, but we'll see. Will it be enough, though? Are we going to see Kota pit this time around when he comes closer to that pit entry? He's done over 9 laps now. At the end of this lap, it'll be on these medium compound tire. Is he willing to do about 10 laps on these medium tires, or will he come into the pits this time around? And yes, he will. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out. Panda currently making his way just around the final corner. And what about Kota at this moment in time? He's yet to make his way to his pit box, so let's see how good his pit stop's gonna be. The number 69 just fitted the hard compound tires, but Akor is just making his way around the main straight, and that is not only going to make him lose on that position, but he might lose it to Petty as well. And yes, will that be true? We will only be able to see. Yes, it will be true. He's going to lose out. But Akor, very good job by him. He had lost the position to the weaker driver before the pit stops, but that undercut has helped him gain out on the weaker driver. And anyways, he's on those medium compound tire. That's going to help him a lot. But again, as it stands in the championship, it is going to be with that fastest lap to Panda's name, 122 points to his name, and then only a 125. Ooh, that is gonna be crazy, but let's see how this is all gonna be. So that is interesting. Actually, might have been something misjudged earlier on in the championship as it stands. So it's gonna be 122 to Panda's name with at the end of this championship, at the end of this race, as the positions stand and playing. Actually, it's going to be a Cahor still champion. It's not going to be Panda. I might have some miscalculations earlier on. It's going to be a Cahor still finishing second and getting that championship. Even with that fastest lap, Panda's only going to get about to 122 points, and a Cahor will be 125. So he's going to win the championship by 4 points. This is about to be game on, and at this point in time, even if only if Akor finishes in 3rd place, Panda, they will both be actually equal on points, and then it comes down to that fastest lap extra point, not fastest lap extra point, which actually Panda has, but if Akor is able to do a better job. But as it stands, Cahor is going to be awarded champion of the season here at Casual Races, with Pele getting a 3-second time penalty. It's fairly unlikely to see, and that goes wide. Kota again struggling a lot here at Qatar. He's shown speed in the qualifying session, but the race hasn't quite been his way. We're into lap 12, and we see him make mistakes at this point in time, and the gaps are quite a lot between the top two, and then 2.8 seconds between the WeCarb and the Red Bull. But will it be the final 8 laps now to the end of this race, which is going to be lap 13 to lap 8, which is going to be sorry, not lap 8, but lap 20. That's going to be 8 laps to the end of this race. Panda's got 8 laps to see what he can do, to probably hope that a Cahors is going to be out of this race by maybe making a mistake or not finishing lower than second in this race so far, because the 96 of Panda adding 26 to that is going to be 122 points, but with 107 already to a Cahors' name, just adding 18 is going to be enough to see himself score over 125 points and see himself into still leading that championship title. And the Panda would have hoped for that had he attended a few more races this season. If I'm not wrong, Panda didn't attend all 8 of the races, so that then explains the gap, 3-point gap between the two drivers. But I think it will still be a big disappointment for him to lose out only on the championship by 3 points, but a Cahors will be all to take that point and that championship. And at the moment, one thing he'll be wishing for, that he does not make a mistake brutal enough that's going to see him fall back, or at least sometimes drivers make mistakes on their road that see them hit the wall. Meanwhile, Panda gets a 3-second time penalty, but he will not be worrying about that, as his gap to Cahors is over 10.5 seconds. And yes, as I said, Panda joined mid-season, and to still only lose it by 3 points, that is going to be rather an achievement to see, finishing second in the championship despite not joining mid-season. But I think Cahors will be at the top at the end of this session, unless he makes a huge mistake though. And meanwhile, we talk about that. This is going to be, that's a big lockup for Pelli, and so for Kota then, that's going to bring out the gap to less than 1 second, just over 9/10 now. And I think the V-Carb driver is getting in pressure at this point in time. We saw Kota making mistakes, but then we're seeing Pelli making a lot of lockups in every corner we go. A braking zone is seeing him lock up and get that puff of smoke on those tires. And this now will be somewhat of a performance to do for Pelli to defend, but Mr. Kota to give it a go. He might just overtake him before they're into the final corner. He's going to go into the back of him. They make contact. The front wing of Kota touches the back of the wake-up driver there. But we'll see how good is he going to be able to overtake him. They almost touch each other and make contact with both of them. A 3-second time penalty. It's going to be equal out on track. Who finishes ahead into turn 1? It's going to be Kota coming up ahead of him, but then it's going to be a Pelli. Will have a chance of overtaking, but can't quite do it at this point in time, and he loses out in a position. That gap was over 1.3 seconds before that mistake to the RB, but then Kota took it all and did it and showed us what he's going to be able to do at this point in time, and take that as Panda's now closer to El Dominici actually on the track, and he's lapped him already and shown the blue flag to get out of the way. We're 15 laps into this race, 16 laps that should be, as Pelli's overtaking Kota about that, as we just had a silent second for a moment, and that then is going to allow Pelli to overtake, but then he might have realized his mistake that he could have done at the DRS zone. That's then going to allow Kota to switch back and overtake him one more time, with both of them having penalties, actually 3 seconds. And D-Mag and El Dominici are only drivers to have 6 and a 9-second penalty to each. Now we're moving on to lap 16. With 5 laps, including this one, and 4 after this one to the end of the race. Cahors looks set to be crowned champion of season 2 here at Casual Races. Got about few laps to do, but he's got 2 seconds to Kota, who's gaining on him, but then Cahors hasn't got a penalty. Even if he's overtaken by Kota. He will need to gain over 3 seconds to finish in second place, but I think that's going to be interesting to see if he's able to gain. Yes, he's actually gaining on him, but I think a Cahor then depends how much he's gaining on him. Unless he's gaining on him a second a lap and then overtaking, and after that again gaining as much, will only be worrying for a Cahor, but it wouldn't be worrying for him as he hasn't got a penalty. Unless he gets one though, that's what he doesn't have to do. He doesn't need to get a penalty, because sometimes in these pressure moments, in these moments that are very, very important for you to not make a mistake, for you to nail it, or not really do something that's really going to have you lose out on a thing such as a title, such as a championship, drivers' championship before the end of a season. So it's really gonna be a thing to see. I think lap 17 out of 20 is now just getting us to get closer to have us closure on a season 8 race season, which was full of excitement, entertainment, and somewhat of disappointment for some drivers. But I think this is all at the end of the season. It's all going to be a one to cheer out for, as at this moment in time we are going to have, okay, one car is a lapped one, which is of course going to be of El Dominici then ahead of everyone. But then Ecuador, is all of us going to bump into him? Yes, he will bump into him. He's going to bump into the back of El Dominici. That is then going to allow Kota and Ecuador to get ahead. It'll be hard to see if he's able to. He's going to get somewhat of a front wing damage, and that is what's going to happen at this point in time. Kota's got a penalty, but he's going to move into second place. And now it's really interesting to see if Kota is able to move away over 3 seconds from a Cahor at the end of this race, though, because only then Panda's going to have a chance of a championship title with both of them, I believe, equal on points. Then it'll be decided who has more wins in this season so far. But I think still, as it stands, the gap is over 4/10 from Cahor to Pele, and then 1.6 seconds. So it's just about 2 seconds at this point in time. And I think with that penalty, not having a penalty, saves at this point in time does Cahor in the championship. But I think if both of these if it takes him a little bit too long to overtake to the end, this could well be a big title chance for Panda at this point in time in this race. And I think we will see what he's able to do. There might be somewhat problems at this point in time, and I think still things are going to be heating. Things are going to be heated in the final moments of this race. And I mean, it's been a fantastic race so far. Have been entertainment, have been moments of delight for some drivers, and almost disaster for some. And I think with the gap just about half a tenth, and I think it might not be enough for Kota to overtake him. That then going to see him finish 3rd place if he just finishes behind him. And over 3 seconds behind Kota, though. Will be interesting to see, but I think it might not be enough. But we'll see how he's going to be able to do that. And yes, Panda, still having that fastest lap to his name, is going to see him finish about. And this is going to be a chance for him. Ecuador is trying everything. Ecuador is going to try and everything and then get ahead of him. Meanwhile, this will be very closer. Between the top two in the championship, and this might be happening somewhat of a confusing state. Who's going to win out the championship? But this time around the outside, that's going to be the inside line for Cahor. He finally gets ahead of Pele, but Pele might come back at him, and the gap is over 3 seconds, and that's now going to be the weak-out driver trying everything to come back at him. Cahor's going to get elbows out to have it on, and I think so far it's still going to be interesting to see, because Pele might just be on the way to overtake. Pele's going to try and use all that DRS, and Ecuador doesn't have ERS. So that's going to see Kota get closer to him. Around the outside is going to go a Cahor. But then on the inside line, switches back from outside to the inside and takes back, but then so will be Pele, and they're going to make contact. He's doing everything to stop him almost. At this point in time, it's anyways going to be a Cahor finishing third on the stat at this point in time, but this also helps then. Both of the drivers are going to finish equal on points, depending who has more wins in the season, and that's going to be a Cahor having a problem and making a mistake at the end of this race. Will it be enough? That's then going to be a Cahor finishing in 4th place, which will be seeing him score only 12 points and become Panda the champion of the season with 22 points to his name. We will see. What is it going to be happening? And wow. Wow, what a race at this point in time. Panda's gonna come home to win the race here, final race here in Qatar. And as it stands, he will be coming home to be crowned champion of the season here at Casual Races. It's gonna be Kota finishing in 2nd place. And what a recovery for him after a disaster start. And Pele just over 6 seconds ahead of a Cahor. Gonna see him finish in 2nd place. And a Cahor, almost the championship was in both his hands, but snatched out in the end from him. And what a race we've had. That's then going to be Panda winning the championship by over 3 points. And what a season we are saying goodbye to. And what a performance by all of these drivers. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be having a quick chat with all of these drivers before we call out and adios to a great season here at Casual Races. And what a performance. I mean, both of them did amazing jobs. Cahor tried everything tonight, but it just wasn't to be the championship, and just wasn't enough for him to take the title with himself. And that is gonna see a Panda winning the championship. And not only that, he's going to add to the tally of Mercedes as well, which is going to see them score 112 points, still keep third place in the constructors title. But Panda then wins the championship, and so does he win the title. And I think we are only going to be waiting on for the and we will see. And it'll be a great to have a chat with you, Panda, if you're about to give us your time in the interview room. But we'll see. These are the podium celebrations, and those are the celebrations of a winner. Panda winning it all here tonight. That trophy is going to be a race win trophy, but in a moment time he will be getting that championship trophy as well. And what a performance and title fight in the end. That is now going to see us have the end of the race. This then marks adios to a season of fights, entertainment and sacrifices for some drivers out there. And what a performance in the end. Congratulations to all of these drivers doing a very, very good job. And we are now going to move on to the race. Okay, that's understandable, but let's have a look at this, guys. Then let's move on to let's move on to all of these drivers and have a good chat with them. And there we go, everyone. We are here tonight for the season finale. And I mean, what a race this was to call out the season. And we're going to have a chat with Kota, finishing out in second place there, even with that 3-second time penalty in the end, making the most of a Cahor's mistake and getting yourself that second place. And great way to finish that season, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a race with a lot of ups and downs. I started P2, then just spun co-tires, just didn't get the grip that I wanted, and worked my way back up to P2. So yeah, happy with the results.
I mean, it still must feel great. You know, sure, the race probably didn't have the grade of start, falling down to last place in between the running cars, and then just getting that penalty. Like, at what moment you thought that you had that second place in mind? Because that penalty, Core not having it, it still must have been difficult to sometimes it get difficult to you even overtake them on track, but then not being able, not enough to getting that position at the end of the race.
Yeah, so I think about lap 14, somewhere there, I saw that I had a really great pace, um, both against Ghost and against Dagahor. I was catching a lot. Then when I caught Ghost, I just was way faster than Dagahor, so then I thought that I could definitely be at the P2.
Fantastic. I mean, once again, congratulations on finishing out in second place. It was a race of entertainment and great racing out there. Hope to see you be at the top once again into season 3 we go. And great having a chat with you. See you next time.
See you.
And we move on to Ghost, that finishing in P3. I mean, a great race for you as well. What were you expecting going into the race? Because pretty much not, having these competitive drivers fight, and then the top 2 fighting for that title as well, and in the end, getting yourself in the top 3. A good result for you?
Yeah, it was better than I expected. I mean, the start, I kind of liked the start because, like, in the start, quota spun, which was pretty sad because he was very fast. But then I could keep up with the 2 first runners that had softs, so I was pretty happy with that. And after I saw that Ekohor didn't have softs, so I just pushed and overtook him. And yeah, I was just trying to push as much and get that P3.
In the end, I mean, a great result for you as well to end the season and come out back, recharge before season 3 and really be at the top and really be in between that championship, which probably wasn't enough for this year. And I'm sure coming into next year, if things go as planned, there should be a lot of many more drivers at the end of a race of a next season in that championship fight.
Yeah, true. I mean, I kind of did make a break because of something that happened in the Netherlands, and I was pretty pissed. But yeah, I came back, and I feel that I came back strong, and I'm really looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, congratulations on finishing out third, Ghost out there. Great to have you to chat with you. Hope to see you next season and at the top and in that top 3, just as we saw you tonight.
Yep, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And Kahor, my man, we move on to him coming into the race, leading that championship and almost having it on your lap, in your both hands, just before the final few laps, bumping into the back of El Dominici. You have to say something about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really disappointed, not in myself, but most of the drivers here, but I'm not gonna talk about that yet. El Dominici, like, really, I couldn't even try to have a fight with Quota and have anything because El Dominici just didn't went out the way. He got blue flagged and then he was on the racing line the whole time. I couldn't do anything because, Qatar is just so fast track. You're going 200, 300 kilometers per hour, and yeah, you just couldn't do anything at that speed. So yeah, that's really couldn't do anything there, and yeah, so that's my opinion about the incident.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it always doesn't feel good with how things ended for you. Just about 3 points short of that championship. But still, I mean, it was a great campaign for you as a team and taking that team title, as we shall say, as Red Bulls. So it should be a good time to have a break and come back strong next time around.
Yeah, if I had 3-3, I would have won, but I think some of the people here, I'm not gonna say who, he knows who I'm talking about. Some of the people here are very dirty drivers and just trying to slow me down. Really, it's I think not fair, and it's a good time until it gets dirty. And the last lap, when I got pushed out a little bit, I just didn't feel like it was fair that the person in front of me was braking where he wouldn't need to brake, and also we couldn't just have a good fight. He pushed me wide like 1 or 2 times, and yeah, I just spun because when on the inside he didn't leave me in too much space, and we couldn't just have a great fight. But yeah, so I'm really disappointed in some people here. I'm not sure I'm gonna be racing the next season. So yeah.
Yeah, that explains it. I mean, disappointment to just lose out on that championship title in the final few laps of a race, but still finishing out second in the championship. Congratulations for you on that, and I hope to see you racing around here next time around, and great to have you chat with you. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we should move on to D-Mag, finishing P5 here tonight at Qatar. And in the end, I mean, finishing out P4 in the championship title as well to really end the campaign, at least maybe not in too good of a position, but I think still in a very, very decent position with how the last few races had went for you.
Decent position to finish in the Drivers' Championship. I mean, with the amount of competition there is and drivers that are quick, I mean, I'm happy that I've been at least in the top 5. P5 in the race today wasn't what I was looking for, and I know I had a chance at P3 in the Drivers' Championship, but I would have to get a podium, and there is, unfortunately, other drivers that are quicker, so I would have to fight for it, and hopefully next year I can have that pace to be able to do good results like podiums and such and such. So I'm happy with the result as a team as well. Constructors P2. It's a good season for us, I would think, in like my perspective. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm in P2 in the Constructors title and P4 for you in the Drivers title. And with both of you, Kota and yourself, finishing in very decent positions tonight, it'll be a very, very good chance for you to regroup and come back as the strongest pair next year.
Yeah, it would be a good season if we had to try and go again and hopefully win the Constructors, but we'll have to see. We might lose our pace, we might just depart from each other, we don't know. Obviously that's next season, that's in the future, and in the present right now, so I can't decide what we're gonna do.
Let's see how it starts into next year, but still have a great break before coming into the next season. And congratulations, finishing out 4th in the Drivers' title. And now we should move on to Mr. Magic Blood. Hello, Magic. Another very decent result for you, P6. I mean, sure, only 7 drivers, but still finishing out and ahead of 1 driver. A pretty clean race for you. And I mean, at the end of the day, getting yourself 5th in the drivers' title and getting your team 4th in the title, pretty good results for you.
Yeah, like as I've said, like throughout a lot of the season, consistency is key. And when I found there's only like 7 drivers, I knew last race, 7 drivers, just keep it clean until the end. The other drivers, they are really good, a lot better than me, and also I knew that if there was ever a collision that would cause safety car, that would get me into the fight. But honestly, P6, I'm fine with that. My job was done, I think, in Las Vegas. I knew I just had to get a good side position, finish there, and my P5 would be safe. So honestly, it was just like get to the end and don't make any mistakes today. So my job was done. Well, honestly, I think for this season, I think it's been a bit mixed. I think there's been a lot of tracks which I'm good at, but also a few that I'm not good at. Like Qatar, for example, it's not been my fastest track. I think as a team, I think we did really well. Yeah, not as strong as we were last season in the constructors, but I think we still did well. I know that next season, Iceman's not going to be in McLaren, sadly, but I want to say a big thank you to Iceman. He's been an absolutely brilliant teammate, and I wish him luck for next season. But yeah, McLaren is still going to do really well, and I think even coming next season, we're going to still continue to fight on, and we are going to get a podium very soon.
Yeah, definitely would be great to see you on the podium after a great races, seeing you always within the top 10 to really, I mean, it'll be no better chance for you and everybody around to enjoy the break, but then really put in the effort to be within the top drivers and come out as one of the best next time around.
Once again, I want to say that everyone else that's been in this league, like everyone, Quota, DMAG, Alcohol, even everyone else that has not been in like every single race, like Zero today, a few of us, even Kronk as well. Everyone has been super quick, super pacey, and everyone's definitely driven to their heart's content. There's definitely been a lot of controversies this year, but for this season, actually for both seasons, but still, I think this year we've ended out with a good bang. Looking forward to 2025, and for season 3, it's looking to be very interesting. It's going to be as competitive as ever. I don't know what the regulation's going to be regarding like what cars, but still, I think we're all going to be racing to our heart's content to see who will get that championship. And also congratulations to the winner of the championship. I think it was Panda. I think. Yeah, congratulations to him. And yeah, can't wait for next season and see what happens.
Yeah, indeed was Panda. And sure, great. Congratulations for you two on a good, successful season. See you out next time around. Hope you have a great break, enjoy it, and come back as one of the greats next time around.
Thank you, man. Hope eventually that happens. Yeah, see you in 2025.
See you too. And now we should move on to Al Dominici, our final driver, finishing P7 out of 7 drivers. It was a decent race. I mean, just going fine for you. Maybe the speed not there, but in the end, just an incident. I mean, which just involving the championship leader there at that point in time. What's your say on that? I mean, I'm sure it's not easy to really get out of the way instantly and to know that what way they're gonna go. So it'll be great to hear it from you.
Yeah, I like to apologize to Alcohol. I was gauging it through the map and watching back at his gaining on me. I actually thought he was gonna pass me on the left, so I stayed right, but he didn't pass me left because it was a left-handed turn. So I figured he's gonna keep going left to clear me. So I just stayed right and went straight on the right side. But it didn't happen like that.
Yeah, I'm sure sometimes these things happen from race to race, and really it's only a split-second decision to decide which side you're going to go to let the other car get past, and these things are happen. But I'm sure this break and really all of one before the season is really a big one to regroup and really come back, not only as a driver but as a team, and really to see how everything's going to become working up into the next season and start from 0 points, everybody, for of course. So it's a good opportunity for you to gain back in that confidence coming into the next season as well.
Yeah, that's true. I look forward to next season. Everybody seems to be real hyped about it, and everybody's picking up pace also.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it'll be great to see some of the drivers doing better than they did this season and really be in the mix, and also those who haven't been able to be one of the best this season have a good chance to come out to be great next season. So great having a chat with you. Enjoy your break and come back strong next year.
Likewise. Guys, have a good new year.
Thank you. Enjoy, everyone. And that then, ladies and gentlemen, is going to mark the end to the race here tonight at Casual Races. Hope all of you watching have had a great time watching the season finale here at Casual Races. And have a great holiday, and see you around back in 2025 when we come back for season 3. And this was a great race, and I'm sure this was a great season for all of those drivers to look back on. And that then is going to mark the end to the race and our final one of the year here at Casual Races. And wish you all a happy holidays from everyone here at JP Broadcasting. And that's me, Zabi, and I am out.